Afterwards, the men deliberated before splitting off to their directives, and I returned to my room. Perhaps I should have gone. Maybe it would have been better for me to take the risk and learn something. Anything. It felt like an icy dagger was pressed into my chest, piercing my thin flesh with a cold blade. Okay, yes, I am sorry, Chizuru. I should have sent you off to go and look for your dad somewhere normally, but we're trying to get a guy for you, which is more important than your dad. This guy, see? Feel better. Are you regretting it? If you are, then you should have just gone with them. Wait, Okita's saying Okita? Or am I? I feel like that's a mistake. Okita, I'm not regretting it. I was so ashamed, so I couldn't bear to look into his eyes, but he smiled wryly before continuing while touching my chin. Yeah? What about my chin? Oh, really? You don't regret it at all? Not even if you knew that Hajime and I went out of our way to convince Hijikata. What? His revelation nearly took the air from my lungs. Oh no, they did it for my sake and I threw it all away. That was the last thing I expected him to say. A little while ago, when they tested my swordsmanship, Saito did make that promise. That they'd advise Hijikata to join their rounds. Did I really waste their kind efforts, throwing away their promise to get me out? I'm so sorry. You two worked so hard to convince him, and It was actually Hajime that convinced Hijikata. I just stood behind him and nodded lightly. Even so, I'm sorry. When I see Saito later, I need to apologize and give my thanks to him. I can't believe I didn't realize from the start. I feel like I let them down. As I was coming to terms with my decision, Okita stared down upon me blankly. Oh, but keep in mind, Hajime vouched for your swordsmanship and all, but your level of swordsmanship won't be of much help when you experience what rounds are like. Your type of swordsmanship is what we call dojo swordsmanship, pretty much useless in any real battle. He was ruthless, but his criticism was spot on, so I was convinced he was right. You right. What if you taught me a different way, though? Can we do that? That would be cool. You may be able to accompany us, but you'd better keep that kodachi sheathed. We don't need any recklessness to hold us back. If there's any sign of you becoming an issue, I will not hesitate to put my blade through you. I understand. I nodded in a plaintive manner. Why are you so eager to kill me? What did I do to you in another life? Okita said nothing else as he turned his back to me to exit towards the inner court. Are we fading? Is there something else about to happen? Take a page out of my book. Achievement unlocked. Ah, now we're in chapter 2. July. Oh. Is that my boy? Is that my boy? No news of my father came forth the other day, and somber restlessness took hold of me. Originally, it seemed Hijikata granted me approval to accompany the captains on their rounds through Kyoto to search for my dad. Then he called me in. Excuse me. I saw Okita and Haisuke had been summoned along with me, and I felt a partial sense of relief. It did little to calm my chattering nerves, and I didn't want to be in a bad spot with Hijikata. You called me? Hijikata seemed to be in a foul mood, so I decided it was best to act with tact in his presence. He's always in a bad mood. I was thinking about the search for Kyoto, but maybe it's best to put a halt to it for now. What? But why? We just started looking for him. Stopping now would surely cause any of our leads to run dry. Did anybody even leave yet to look for him? His words stunned me. How could he back out on this? Hijikata remained deeply composed. We have reports of activity from the Choshu, and they do not bode well for us. It would be highly dangerous for you to be out and about. But I said I was gonna stay! But... Apparently there's terminology to read, even though I don't see it. I'd heard how the warriors of the Choshu domain associate with the Imperial Nationalist Party. Ah, that one. A term for those who wanted to see the Emperor as the supreme power of Japan, and also hoped to remove foreign influence from the country. Also known as the Sanjo faction. Okay. For some reason, they find foreigners repulsive, using brute force to prevent any foreign presence. All of their faith is aligned with the Emperor. The Shinsengumi, on the other hand, serve the Shogun, meaning they are directly opposed. If the Choshu is active, it could mean that my own goal is of little concern to the Shinsengumi. I might become something of a burden to them. So, are you asking me to refrain from joining the rounds until things with the Choshu domain settle? Hijikata nodded and turned towards the two men. That being said, as of right now, she is not to accompany any rounds with any captains. It's a good thing I didn't get my hopes up, I guess. Oh, I get it now. That's why you pulled us in here, right? Hakuoki seemed 2 steps behind Hijikata's words, until this very moment where it seemed to click. You know, she never caused any trouble during any rounds she joined us in. I kind of feel like it shouldn't be a problem if she tagged along. Oh, have I joined in rounds since the one that I, skipped out on before? Okay. Yeah, even if something were to happen, as long as she doesn't get involved, it should be fine. I mean, it's not like she can run away from us if things get sticky, right? I won't run. I knew he wasn't being serious, but I couldn't stand to keep my mouth shut. I made up my mind the minute the men of the Shinsengumi agreed to help me find my father. I made a vow to never run from the Shinsengumi for as long as they helped me find my father. My desire to find my father showed no signs of slowing even since I first arrived in Kyoto. I will keep my vow. So please, please, allow me to continue looking for my father. My father! Father! I bowed to Okita, keeping my eyes locked with his. His smirk, however, shrunk slowly as he gazed towards me, caught in between words to say. If you stay with us, you're putting yourself at risk. If you want that risk, feel free to join us. I mean, we have witness reports that fit the profile and description of Kyoto. You may have a point, but are witness reports enough justification to put her in harm's way? What if you're wrong? What if she's exposed? Do none of you understand? You're placing an unnecessary burden on yourselves. I promise I won't cause any trouble. Please! If I lose the opportunity to search for my father, then the chances of finding him will sink. I lied prostrate before him, and Hijikata simply sighed heavily. Yeah, she's really going ham on this. You'd better follow the orders of every captain you join. No ifs, ands, or buts. Am I clear? Yes, of course. Thank you so much. I didn't know how else to show my gratitude, so I bowed deeply again. I am leaving it to your discretion over whether or not you're going to join them. That's on you. Alright. I had to make sure this was the best decision. There was something in his demeanor that made me unsure of my desire to leave the compound. Still, if I was with Okita or Hakuoki, I'm sure I'd be safe and well protected. On the other hand, my presence could be an undue burden to them. What was I to do? Well, it's Okita, so we need to leave and search for our father this time. Now is the time. We played the patient game, and now it is time for us to go and search. Huh? It feels like there are more people walking around than usual. The streets of Kyoto were packed with people shuffling into the shops and businesses all over. Ooh, you're in your blues again. Chizuru, mind yourself. Try not to wander off or something. Remember that you're here to keep me company on rounds. Sorry, I was distracted by all of the people. The city is filled with so much more cheer. So much more cheer. I guess I just couldn't help myself. Okita's eyes twinkled and he smiled voraciously, and I could sense him relax. Well, the Gion Festival's coming up. Things are more lively than usual, I'll give you that. One of the red light districts in Kyoto. Ah. Of course, some of those nationalist Ronin are acting pretty suspicious, too. What I'm saying is, watch yourself, alright? Loyalism, a term for the philosophical and political leanings of those who wanted to remove foreign influences from Japan. Loyalist, nationalist, close enough. Okay. Could we go to the festival and I could wear a yukata and stuff? No? Business as usual, eh? Fine. I get it. We walked down Kyoto's largest street, alongside the First Division. No one came within a few yards of us. They stepped away the moment their eyes caught the bright blue of the Shinsengumi's jackets. I noticed this phenomenon briefly when I first joined the Shinsengumi on their rounds, but it was clear the people of Kyoto feared them. Excuse me. I paused every so often to ask some of the less intimidated passerby if they'd seen my father. I'm looking for someone. He's in his 40s and speaks with an Edo accent. He's a doctor, and he's a friendly, bald man. After a few hours of searching, I met someone who claimed to see a man matching my description.
Oh, yeah. I think I might have seen that guy a while back over at Masu's.
As he spoke, he pointed toward a store selling wood and charcoal. Thank you so much. Okita caught my eye and gave me a stern look. He looked as if he was going to reprimand me when... I said when? You there! Are you Ronin? Give us the name of your lord if indeed you even serve one. The cry came from a Shinsengumi soldier, and Okita turned, his lips tightening into a thin line. Uh-oh. Get ready for trouble. Well, shit. I guess they would choose the worst possible time to stir up trouble, eh? His hand dropped to his sword as he ran toward the commotion. Townsfolk shrieked and ran like leaves before a gale. What was that noise? Whoa! In the sudden press of fleeing citizens, I found myself pulled away from Okita. For a moment, I panicked, but realized that perhaps it was best. If I stayed close, he would have been forced to keep attention on me. I hoped to avoid distracting him. How far away are we being kept, though? Don't get too far, girl. Don't want you getting into trouble again in an alley. The alley, where it all began. I hid in an alley to watch, and I could return to the First Division once the tension simmered. Hey, kid, come over here. You don't want to get yourself caught up in that. Huh? I paused for a moment. A strange man was inviting me into his store. Not strange on the face of it, perhaps, but I was warned many times to be on my guard. I was about to politely refuse when I realized it was the store to which the man pointed earlier. Excuse me, but is this Masu's? Yes, it is. Great! You see, I'm looking for someone, and...
Mr. Kiyamon,
I just saw that kid with Okita, the Shinsengumi captain. What? Huh? I'm not at the Shinsengumi. The Shinsengumi? Run for it! No! It's not like that. I'm just looking for someone. Even if I had been walking with them, the reaction of the store's customers seemed excessive. Well, well. You really have the worst luck, don't you? Still, I guess you could say the same about them. Or me. Wait. And he ran off. He gave a small, unconcerned shrug and leapt through the door of the shop. Masu's exploded with the clang of blades, men swearing and scrambling across furniture. What is the meaning of this? What on earth just happened? Guys? Why are we fighting? What happened? Huh? Later that evening. I guess we didn't find Dad. But we didn't get killed on the rounds. When we returned to Shinsengumi headquarters, Sanan had a number of less than pleasant words. We kneeled for some time as the colonel berated us before Okita finally spoke up. Well, Sanan's still lively, I guess. You don't need to lose your head over it, Sanan. After all, we arrested a couple of Choshu... Man, it's hard to say Choshu with this voice. After all, we arrested a couple of Choshu people. Nailed it! When the fight was over, we discovered a massive arms cache and confiscated the entire thing. No one bothered to explain to me what was happening, however, and I was utterly lost, in case that wasn't obvious. Not something to lose my head over. My head is right where it belongs, Okita. Perhaps you should inquire after yours. The man claiming to be Kiyomon Masu was, in truth, Shuntaro Furitaka, a Choshu spy. Kiyomon Masu, a merchant who sells firewood and charcoal. It was actually a cover identity for Shuntaro Furitaka while operating in Kyoto. And who is Shuntaro Furitaka when he's at home? I'll be at 8, I think. Yeah, there we go. A nationalist Ronin who was a spy for the Choshu when they were banned from entering Kyoto. He was responsible for gathering weapons and information. Okay. You were aware that the Shinsengumi was allowing him to operate in hopes of gathering enemy intel? Yes, I was, but we didn't have a choice this time. I had to bring him in.
Well, it's not like it was a total bust. Like Souji said, they did arrest some guys.
Don't you feel bad for Shimada and Yamazaki? They were staking out to keep an eye on Furitaka. I guess things could have gotten better. Oh. The corners of Haisuke's mouth twitched into a smile, but Shimada interrupted him to continue. Oh. Kai Shimada. What is going on with your neck?
We appreciate your concern, Toto, but nobody needs to lose any sleep on our account. We were getting nowhere with Masu's the last few days anyway. Okita did us a favor.
Yamazaki nodded in silent agreement.
Furitaka's arrest is over and done. You won't hear any complaints from us about it.
Alright. New people all of a sudden.
Man, you two are the definition of stoic and reasonable. Souji, on the other hand.
It didn't seem Nagakura was going to let Okita get away without rubbing his mistake in his face. Poor Okita. Both Kai Shimada and Suzumu Yamazaki serve as Shinsengumi officers and spies under Hijikata. Okay, so that's Kai, an officer in the Shinsengumi who also served as a spy. During times of peace, he serves under Shinpachi in the 2nd Division. Okay. And I need to look up Suzumu. Suzumu. Come on. There we go. A member of the Watch who reports to Hijikata. He was an officer of the Shinsengumi as well as a spy. Okay. He's got those beautiful eyes. Aside from the captains who stay in the Yagi residence, there are some of the few people. They are some of the few people entrusted with the knowledge of my situation. In other words, these men are highly valued officers within the organization. Cool. Despite their resounding support, I felt a rush of guilt sweep over me and I spoke up. I'm so sorry. It's all my fault. Some Ronin were causing trouble, so I tried to get out of the way. I got separated from Okita and the crowd, and I didn't go right back to him. Before I really realized what was going on, someone just started shouting at me. But who was tasked with looking after you? He glared at me, his eyes hard and angry, and my throat tightly clenched into dryness. The captain of our 1st Division can't even track a charge. Is this the best the Shinsengumi can do? When I'd first met him, Sanan had been nice, if a little quiet. After his injury, however, it was as if he'd become an entirely different man. I'll have to give him some love one day. Okay, now what? Oh, you're standing up. Wow. I told her she could go. They were only following orders. Sanan looked up as Hijikata walked into the room. He gave the commander a tight, wry smile, but got only a peaceful, impartial glance in return.
If you're here, that means you're done interrogating Furutaka, right?
It went that well, huh?
They're going to wait for a day when the wind picks up, then set Kyoto on fire and kidnap the Emperor while everyone else is losing their shit. So they say, at least.
Kidnapping the Emperor? Ambitious? His voice was calm and measured, but we all felt the import of his words.
Burn down the city? Those Choshu guys are crazier than I thought.
So they just want to kidnap the Emperor? Seems a little contradictory for a bunch of guys who call themselves imperialists. A term for the philosophical and political leanings of those who wanted to remove the shogun as the administrative power for Japan replaced by the Emperor.
Whatever their reasons, we cannot ignore them. They're probably meeting tonight. We need to get ready to move out. Understood, Commander. Alright, finally! I'm getting chills.
Oh, Shinpachi. Even though each man displayed his professionalism differently, they were all clearly prepared. As they quieted down, Hijikata turned toward me as if he had only just noticed my presence.
We did get some information on Kodo. Apparently, he visited Masu's with some men from the west.
What?
So, the rumors that he was seen in Kyoto were true, but that's all there is to it.
My father was someone from the west. But my father went missing in Kyoto. How would he be with someone from the west? Maybe he lied. But no one had an answer for me. Suzumu Yamazaki's warrior record has been released. Is Suzumu a dateable guy? Suzumu? Is that what that means? I need to look at that. Hold on. As soon as you're done loading, of course. Oh, there's talking going on. come on. Let's see. I can't, like... I don't know how you go any further to the raid. I did hear if you, like, go here, the tree in the back will start budding with flowers. See, we got a couple of extra flowers. Budding. We're in budding. Oh, I could go this way. Sana. There we go. Suzumu. Yeah, he's closed right now. He's closed for business. Okay. Everyone else is closed, yeah? We're only budding with one guy right now. Okay? It's our only budding romance. Okie dokie. Preparations for the raid began immediately. Within moments, the compound was like a beehive, with soldiers and officers running back and forth. The tension felt thick enough to cut with a knife. I found it affecting me, despite my best efforts. My encounter at Masu's created some of their current headache, and I'd hoped to make up for it. Hey, can I... Oh. It became clear to me that I had very little to offer when it came to preparing for a raid. At the end of the day, all I could do was stay quietly to the side to avoid being a burden. Just then, I heard someone's voice out of the blue.
We don't have enough men. Kondo has only 10 soldiers ready to fight. Hijikata and I have 24 apiece, right? Everyone's sick. Not so funny, eh, Saito?
Ah, that's right. There were a handful of men who were bedridden from a swift food poisoning epidemic, leaving them short-handed in battle. Well, that's convenient. They planned on dividing the troops in half. Kondo's troop will go to Ikeda Inn, and Hijikata's troop will head to Shikoku Inn. One of several locations where the nationalist group claiming to support the Emperor would gather. I wonder if Shikoku will be the same. One of several locations where national imperialists gathered. There you go. There you have it.
So you think we'll bring him along on this one? It's a night mission. It'd be perfect.
Them?
We lost a couple the other day, but there should still be a few left, right? I heard they won't be seeing combat for a while. They're having some difficulty adjusting. They stop listening to orders as soon as they see blood. It's rather inconvenient.
What? I swore I heard something before about a reaction to blood, but this was something I was not supposed to hear. The two men hadn't realized that I was listening to their conversation. But it was crucial that I don't say anything. Well, that's the first smart thing you said.
They've got to be spinning in their graves. Didn't they choose to do this so they could fight? Sana, you only say that after someone's actually dead. Yeah, I guess you're right. They aren't really dead, are they? In fact, they're even harder to kill now.
There was no doubt that what I was hearing was not meant for my ears. Did they take that fury medicine? And do I have that blood in me? Is that what the medicine's made from, is my blood? That would be messed up if my dad was using my blood and that blood medicine is now curing people but driving them mad at the sight of blood. I don't know. That's probably not what it is at all, and I'm trying to piece the pieces together. I shoved my fingers into my ears and closed my eyes tightly. The best I could do was make sure I didn't hear anything else. I'm trying to see who that is through the blackness. I can't quite tell.
Oh? What are you doing here, Yukimura?
Chief, is that you? Barely recognize you. My eyes flew open to see Kondo in front of me. I couldn't just sit there. I told him the truth, how I'd felt so useless and left my room to find some way to help.
Ah, of course, I see. I know how you feel. The men are pretty excited, aren't they?
Yes. Excited? More like bloodthirsty, to be honest. I'm like, you have a very serious expression. I was not expecting this next question, though.
Would you care to join us?
What? That was not what I expected him to say. You mean go on a raid with you? I don't know what I could...
You see, many of my men are out with food poisoning, so we're short understaffed. Well, we could certainly use a messenger, but if you'd rather not, there's no need to feel obligated.
You raise a good point. Now that he mentioned it, I did remember hearing that Kondo's troop only had 10 people in it. Well, alright, if I'll just be a messenger. His face split into a grin, and I found myself on the way to the Aketa Inn to accompany their raid. What a twist. Kondo's presence was relieving, and his good nature gave me comfort in asking him a question. Kondo, your uniform is different than the one your other men wear. The Shinsengumi's unique light blue uniform made it so anyone in Kyoto would recognize them. However, Kondo's uniform was white, almost cream, setting him apart from his men. Why are you so pure?
Oh, this. This white uniform is for charging into dark areas, allowing us to see each other with more clarity.
I see. I didn't know the core uniform came in so many varieties. A white-colored uniform used during the night or special occasions. Doesn't that make you easy to see to the enemy, though? Their usual uniform was well-fitting, and the colors stood out, but this white uniform was more elegant. Oh, my. Such elegance. I smiled while I looked at his uniform, and I braced myself for what was to come. Oh boy.